Let me just settle for As Guillem. First question from Alan McCartney says, "Evening, Guillem. Have you got any inside information on the Rafa Benitez contractual situation?" And it's an interesting one because I think Newcastle knows what Rafa Benitez wants. He knows what he wants for his assistants. He wants to have more information about the budget. We all know about this. But it's interesting that Newcastle perhaps are thinking, well, he hasn't got other options in the Premier League, so we can slow things down. They're talking about £100 million, but I think they're saying in 2 seasons, so £50 million each season. Is that enough when the likes of Bournemouth and Leicester and others will have £100 million or more? It will limit the possibilities of actually going up into the table. And why is that? Well, they're perhaps thinking of selling the club, so there is no rush to tie this one up. And I'm starting to think, if I'm Rafa Benitez, I go home. I go home because there are more possibilities. I'm sure he's already got offers from other clubs, not just from China and Saudi Arabia. I'm sure that's the case. But if he was home with no links to any club, I think he will get even more. And there won't be just small clubs, I can tell you that. So, I don't know, if I was Newcastle, even if I have to sell the club, I'd rather keep Rafa Benitez in the club. But things are slow at the moment, and I think the conversations, the club has probably mentioned that after the last game of the season, it'll be time to talk. But that, of course, limits the situation, the possibilities of Rafa Benitez, because clubs are already deciding on managers. So why might him wait? Why might him wait? And that's one that perhaps the fans of Newcastle will have to answer. And they can do so in the stands. Just making known to Rafa Benitez that he is wanted, because I think most of the fans is exactly what they want. Why does Valverde not get enough credit for his Barca team? Only 3 defeats in 2 seasons in La Liga. Right. A little bit on Barcelona, and yes, this is for me La Liga of Messi plus Valverde. You cannot take Messi out of the equation because even though he's played about 1,100 minutes less than last season, he's basically scored the same amount of goals and has had the same amount of influence. But Valverde sat him down. In fact, twice in a row, was on the bench for the first time since 2014. Why? Because they've clicked. Valverde and Messi understand each other. Valverde told me when I was talking to him for the update of the Messi book that they don't need to have long conversations. They just need to have little comments on things, and they understand each other. In one occasion, Valverde was actually telling him he was coming on last season against Sevilla away. Sevilla were doing well. I think they were beating Barcelona at that point, and the points were needed for Barcelona to continue their pursuit of the league. And he was starting to explain to him, you could do this, and then looked at Messi and said, do whatever you want. Because he knows Valverde has got the trust in the player, who understands football so much better than people think. So with that working, for Valverde it was a matter of making sure that conflicts didn't go too far. And there's been 3, basically. With Arturo Vidal, when he first came in, he didn't like to be on the bench. Now he understands his role. Quietly, he's been accepting it, but also through talks with Valverde. Dembélé, late at training, not focused after his injury and before it as well. And again, total confidence on him. And now we've seen a Valverde that's understanding his role better. This is not just Valverde, but the club helping too. And of course, Coutinho. He's been giving him minutes, the ability to continue pursuing his dream of succeeding at Barcelona. He wants to stay, of course, next season too. And even though he didn't deserve those minutes sometimes, he's been allowed to keep playing. And what did we see at the weekend against Levante? Perhaps the best 45 minutes of Coutinho this season, even though he didn't score, and rested for the Liverpool game then. So you are talking about a quiet leader, somebody that, as you say, have lost 3 games all season, but I'll say 2 really, because the defeat against Levante last season was after they won the league. So only 2 defeats in 2 seasons suggests that he's done things very well. And there was a key moment this season. It was a game against 2 games against Betis, actually, 2 key moments. They lost at the Camp Nou against Betis, a Betis that attacked and exploited the lack of intensity of Barcelona. Everybody spoke, and since then the defence has improved dramatically, because everybody has to defend, not just the defenders who were exposed at the time, and Ter Stegen said so. And then went to Betis and beat them 4-1 away. And after that game, Messi said, even though the team had defended a bit deeper and counter-attacked, Messi said, the tactics were spot on. This is important because in Barcelona, everybody wants, a lot of people want Barcelona to keep the ball, to be 4-3-3, never mind so much counter-attacking, more about dominating. And Messi said, listen, this is what it was required in this game in which Betis likes to have the ball. So tactics were spot on, and that was another clear message, protecting and supporting Messi was doing so to Valverde. Because all this season, the memory of Barcelona has been at the back of their minds, the defeat against Roma. After which, on the same day, top members of the board were thinking of getting rid of Valverde. The players have been with Valverde all along, and I think you've seen the consequence of it. Will not finishing top 4 affect Man United signings this summer? No doubt, no doubt. It's not easy to get players for Liverpool, for Manchester United, even for Manchester City. And it's not just the money. It has to be clubs that I want to challenge. If either of those three, even though they have all the money that it's required, not seen as challenging, players won't go. The top players that they want won't go. For instance, De Jong ended up going to Barcelona earning less than he would have earned at City. On Manchester United, what I'm hearing is that they want to get players, the best players of the Premier League, away from the top 6, say. Away from those, they want the best players in the Premier League, and young as well. Yes, they're interested in Hudson-Odoi, but not just him. Centre-backs are not a priority, it seems, but I think they will get at least one. They just need quality throughout the side. They will look for those kinds of players that run, that are strong physically, and that have got quality. It doesn't have to be the bigger names. They won't go after bigger names. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer don't want superstars, so forget about that. It's about getting a very tough squad mentally and physically, and it will require few windows for United to go to the top, 2 or 3 at least. So you'll have to be patient. What kind of match do you expect between Arsenal and Valencia? And who are the Valencia players apart from Guedes who can hurt Arsenal? Rodrigo, certainly. One of the forwards will play with Guedes, possibly on the left-hand side, even though Guedes has been roaming around almost like a number 10, free to attack down the wings or through the centre. And used to be, normally, is 2 forwards. Santimina, who is not that effective outside the box, but inside the box he's got a talent to finish things. Or Gameiro, who's very, very fast as well. Dani Parejo, he is talent, intelligence, perhaps not the quickest, but his passing ability is great. You stop Dani Parejo, and then you can stop Valencia. And Gaia on the left-hand side, of course, also attack with venom. They defend quite well. Neto, Brazilian, very, very good goalkeeper. And Garay and Paulista, Gabriel Paulista, have those 3 made a very tight centre of defence for Valencia. A top team, they create chances that they're not super efficient, but Arsenal will obviously have to improve on recent performances, be mentally prepared to suffer. A lot of the time they may not have the ball, but these are 2 teams that are comfortable without the ball. Remember, Unai Emery is a specialist in knockout competition, so he won't all be decided on the first leg. I'm sure of that. Will Messi move to another club? Brayo says. No, he had this dream of going to Newell's Old Boys at some point late in his career. I'm not sure that's even a possibility now, because the Argentinian league is not the best anymore. But we'll have to see if he considers that a possibility later on. I say he's still got 4 or 5 years at Barcelona, and he won't change to another club, not in Europe. What's going on with David De Gea's contract situation? Any possible summer transfer clear out for Manchester United? You have to remember that the wages are high for Manchester United players. They won't be able to get rid of perhaps as many as they should, and it won't be done very quickly. But certainly 3, 4, 5 changes will be seen. De Gea, I just see him, is much better than he looks at the moment. And I just see him, it's not about the contractual situation. Is he tired of being in the same place? And this is not about Manchester United, because if he had not been at Manchester United and Manchester United came for him, he'll go like, yeah, why not? Brilliant. But he's been a long time in the same place. And sometimes your mind plays games with you. You want to perform, but sometimes you're not able to do it as consistently as you wanted to, because something in the mind is missing. It's not so much a contractual situation, it's just the fact that perhaps he's been a long time in the same place, And yes, I do believe it's time for him to move on and get us to the level that we know he can get to. I don't believe that after Oblak signing a new contract for Atletico Madrid, he will go to Manchester United. I don't believe that. But football is funny. I just don't think it will happen. And on De Gea, it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's work to actually make sure that he enjoys and offers the same consistency in the near future. But I do think that perhaps going to another place, say PSG for instance, may help his performances. Is it wise, that's the last one, is it wise for Barcelona to sell Rakitic and Umtiti? I think if somebody came for Umtiti, they will sell. Rakitic, Valverde doesn't want Barcelona to sell. But Barcelona said, Bartomeu, the president, told the young, you will play and one of the top midfielders will go. So who would that be? Because Arturo Vidal is doing a job. Arthur Melo is absolutely important. Busquets has to play, of course, and in fact they should look for somebody to replace him. De Jong can, of course, offer a little bit of that. He has done that for Ajax. So it's not going to be easy. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to get ready. Got lots of work to do today and end up, of course, in television talking about Spurs Ajax. That will be on Spanish television. So see you later. Bye.